Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Young. Thanks for coming to the time management workshop. Um, let's get started. So right now, just a quick agenda. I'm just going to provide just a quick background, my background, the company's background, provide you some resources on how best to manage your time, and then just finally just finish up with some tips and tricks that you might be able to use. So for starters, my name is Ryan Young. I'm Jacobs School of Medicine, class of 2020, and then also where I got my MD, and then UB School of Management, class of 2021, where I got my MBA. I'm founder of Opollo Technologies, founder and CEO of Opollo Technologies. And so I have a background, again, of course, medicine with my MD, the business because of the MBA, and then also as well as a quantitative finance, artificial intelligence, and medical natural language processing. So kind of how Opollo Technology came to be is I was actually on an anesthesiology rotation. And I was just in a staff meeting, and the perioperative service director was talking about how they were having trouble, trying to improve their schedule. They brought in some consultants, paid a few $1 million for that, and they were still not really being able to achieve the efficiency that they were hoping to be able to achieve. Really, that came down to they'd have the same surgeon performing the same procedure, but of course on a different patient. Sometimes it take that surgeon 60 minutes, sometimes it take them 180 minutes, and there was a lot of uncertainty about that, and it provided a lot of variability. Now, at the time, I was was actually writing a financial trading algorithm. While in medical school, but I was writing a financial trading algorithm, and I was actually building out some AI components to it. And then when I was listening to her talk, I was like, okay, this sounds like an AI problem. And so then, because med students, you don't talk during a staff meeting. Afterwards, I went up and said, if you might be able to provide me a little bit of data, I might be able to actually, hopefully maybe find a solution using some AI. And that's really how Opollo was born. The whole concept behind it is that really for this particular surgeon performing this certain procedure based on this patient profile, this is the number of minutes it's going to take. What we then do is we've developed the Opollo ecosystem, which is an AI platform, which again will provide those more accurate surgery duration forecasts in minutes, allowing for our users not to have to implement any workflow changes, because again, we're providing those forecasts in minutes. We also provide a marketplace for those healthcare facilities to sell their resulting operating vacancies to health insurance companies, so that way we can increase patient access to care, patients be able to get care faster at a high quality facility. Because really these facilities, as they become more efficient with their actual scheduling time, they actually frees up more time for them to actually get more cases, and more procedures to their facility. So with that, we actually, it's been a really fun ride this past year in 2021. So back in February, we actually placed in third place in Blackstone LaunchPad. This is a national pitch competition. You can actually kind of see here, we got to pitch for David Cohen, who's one of the co-founders of Techstars, which is really cool, as well as Brian Brackeen, who's on the right, right here. He's a VC. Pretty prominent as well. So it was really cool to be able to participate in that. And Hadar got us really in contact with a lot of great people here in the Buffalo community to help us really prepare for that. Because for that 2-minute pitch, it was a lot of work just for those 2 minutes. And we're really appreciative of everybody in the Buffalo community to be able to actually come and help us and help support us and help us prepare for this. We then followed that up with actually a first place, winning first place in the Panasci competition, which was again really cool in April. And to the left of me is Anders Rosini, our chief marketing and sales officer. And so again, we were really pumped about winning that, and beginning to continue on our entrepreneurial journey. So really, my responsibilities, as I was doing all this stuff, all this other side activities, I was a full-time student in the MBA program. Even prior to this past year in 2021, I was, learning about medical natural language processing, artificial intelligence and all this stuff while being a medical student and rotating and doing my rotations. And that's, being a medical student, it's about an 80-hour-a-week job in and of itself. I also, chief executive officer duties, right? Providing vision for the company, strategic vision, researching market size and all this other stuff that, especially as an early founder, that you have to do. And then, I'm still coding, I'm still developing. And your thoughts are probably well, how did you balance all that, right? And that kind of leads us to time management, of course, right? So, kind kind of getting right into it, your number one resource is going to be your daily planner. And more importantly, you're consistently using your daily planner. And I'll kind of get touch on that. But this is actually a screenshot of what I use. I actually, I create these weekly planners. I prefer actually having to start on Mondays. And then the idea is that what I do is I just put everything in the planner, right? I like to use OneNote. I used to use a paper planner, but then one day it hit me. I was like, well, what if I lose this paper planner? That'd be pretty much screwed for the entire year. So OneNote, it's saved up in the cloud, so that way I can also access it on multiple devices, iPad, iPhone, laptop, which is really convenient. And maybe able to write out certain notes, like you can see on, November 19th, I'm getting my car maintenance, right? So with an oil change, getting the tires aligned and all that stuff. So, but that's kind of like some of the level of detail that you're able to do. And if you're consistently doing that, then you know that you are, and you're consistently using it, then you're just like, okay, you kind of know what you need to be doing. You don't really stop and think about it because it's always going in the planner. Another thing that I like to do is here you can see where it says like notes. What I do is that notes is just like a long list of everything that I usually will do like annually without in the year. So like, birthdays, get your car registered, all that stuff. I put that there because then on January 1st, for most of the world, it's New Year's Day. For me, it's planner day. So I actually will go in and on the notes and just essentially write out my schedule for the entire year, right? Like birthdays, that type of thing, and when I need to do certain things that I usually just do normal on an annual basis, because in that way, it's there and I know it's there. I don't have to worry about it, think about it, remember to put it in. It's just always there. And finding yourself that level of organization can definitely help. Again, sometimes I do take it a little obsessively, but because I am the person that will write reminders to do something. But again, having that structure can really help you manage the demands that come to trying to be an entrepreneur, going to school full time, et cetera. So again, paper, electronic, it doesn't matter to you. It really doesn't matter. It's just something that the most important thing is that you actually use it consistently. That's the most important rule. You have to use it consistently. For those that want to maybe try an electronic method, I've also included the calendars that I use for 2021 and also for 2022. I include that one as PDFs. You can then put them in to your like a OneNote, OneNote workbook. So that way, I usually divide it up by the months. So that way, it's a little bit easier to manage than just having them all in one big long thing. But it's kind of however you'd like to do it. You can chop the PDFs up as you wish. Also in the speaker's notes, because I will include this PowerPoint presentation, I include the links to where I like to go, whether it be Calendarpedia, as well as time and date. In the speaker's notes on the slide, you'll be able to actually see links to those. So that may actually be something you actually want to check out too. But you can also just Google search. Time audit. This is the next one. So with this one, and I would really encourage you to do it really now, because it's early enough in the school year where you can help yourself identify certain things really. So what you want to do is just for a 2-week period, the night before, just write out what you plan on doing the next day. Then you follow it up with, did you actually stick to that schedule, right? Did you discover, were there any things that you overestimated your ability to, let's say, study for tests? Or, like, oh yeah, that'll be a quick, easy quiz, right? It'll take me like 30 minutes. I'll get it done real quick. And then it ends up like you actually need like 90 minutes, right? As a human being, we have a tendency to kind of overestimate our abilities. I think there was some study, there was some survey that was recently done where like some Americans felt like, yeah, like something like 80% of the people that were surveyed, like, yeah, I can compete in the Olympics. It's like, really people? So, like even, things, even Olympic events that wouldn't be like physically, like necessarily physically demanding, such as like, maybe like like there's certain sports where it's more like kind of like skill versus actual, like the 100-meter where you got to be like more athletic. Like it still takes a certain level of skill, right? So we have a tendency as human beings to do that. So you'd be able to call yourself out on it, right? Also, were there like justified or unjustified deviations, right? So for example, like an emergency came up, you got to go pick up, your younger sibling or something like that. Okay, that's justified, right? I mean, you do have some family responsibilities that you got to take care of, right? So you got to do that. But unjustified deviations are, well, you decided to watch a little extra TV, or you're just being lazy, right? You can clearly see that when you analyze that. You can see how much time you wasted, and it's like, okay, well, you could have put that time towards your venture, but because of that and that self-discipline, you weren't able to, and so now you're behind, right? So here's an example. So I wake up at 4:30 every morning, right? Wake up, eat breakfast, by 5:30, ready to go, right? My plan was, again, respond to those emails, between 5:30 and 6:30 to 9:45, work on Apollo core a little bit, 10 to 12:30, I got to go to class, a marketing lecture. 12:32, I got to go meet with my group to actually work on a project. And then 2 to 3, I'm working on the communications homework. 3 to 4, I'm kind of like an old man because I only eat 2 meals a day. So intermittent fasting thing, but dinner, Netflix. Okay, so I watch an hour of Netflix as I'm eating dinner, right? 4 to 7, finance homework. 7 to 10, work on Apollo course some more. Squeeze a little bit of time for that time audit, and then bedtime by 10:30. Now let's see what actually happened, right? So, okay, up, wake up, hit the snooze a little bit. Okay, 4:47, and not so bad, right? Eat breakfast. Because I woke up a little earlier. Woke up a little later. Okay, I finished breakfast, a little later than expected. But hey, I kind of got lucky a little bit. Didn't have a ton of emails really to really respond to, right? Still got an opportunity, work on Apollo core. Then I had to get right to class. Meet with my met with my group. Went 5 minutes over. That's not really a big deal. But then that's kind of when things started to deviate, right? Hanging out with friends. All of a sudden, decided to get lunch with friends. It's now 4:37. Okay, I'll do my communications homework later. But I get back. Oh, it's like 5 o'clock, but I'm still a little hungry. I want to eat a little snack. I want to watch this Netflix episode anyways. Oh, you finish that one Netflix episode, and it's like, oh, I really want to find out kind of what happens, the story. This is when it kind of is getting good. It's going to bug me. Okay, you start watch another one. Before you know it, it's now 7 o'clock. Right? Now, how many people that's happened to, right? And then, okay, finally get started on some communications homework. Oh, I had really originally allotted only an hour. Oh, it took me almost 2.5, it took me a little over 2 hours to do. Okay, so that took longer. Now all of a sudden, you're only got an hour to work on this finance assignment, but you had originally allocated 3 hours for that, and you got to finish it tomorrow. And like, you've missed your opportunity, to work on your startup. So for me, it would be Apollo core. Now, thankfully, I woke up at 4:30, so then that way I was still able to get some work in, right? Before kind of, things happen, right? Imagine what happened if you woke up at 8, 9. Well, now that's when you get into, well, I never have time to do anything, because again, it's a kind of like self-discipline, where, right, like if you really feel passionate about your startup, what you're working on, it should be easy for you to get up 4:30, 5:30 and get working on it before class, before school, before the day starts. When you're super tired, when you get back and you've done studying all that stuff, right? You should be really passionate about it, so that way you want to go out and do it. So even if you're tired, you'll still want to work on your startup because it's re-energizing, reinvigorating, right? The minute you start learning some of the stuff that you're learning at school, you might find boring, and it's like, oh, I just want to go work on my startup. And you start working startup, and all of a sudden you stop feeling drained and tired anymore, and you start feeling more reinvigorated and remotivated to do things. And so like that should be how it would. If that's what it's like for you, then you found what you wanted to do in your life, right? That's really what they're talking about when you hear entrepreneurs say, yeah, if you find something you love to do, you'll never work a day in your life. That's what they're talking about, where it's fun for you to work on this stuff. That's what that's really what they're referring to. So like, additional like tips and tricks. Number one, it's kind of a reminder, actually use a daily planner. you will help yourself out so much, right? If you obsessively use Google Calendar, fine. You just need something that you're consistently using all the time to put notes in and everything, right? However you do it, you just need to make sure it's consistent and accurate. The time audit, again, make sure you do that. That is super important. Do it now, especially when it's early in the semester. So in that way, you're able to then see, hey, listen, right? You need to get yourself under control. You need to put some checks into place so that we're able to do it, right? Again, I'll say wake up at 4:30, right? I've included 2 links here. This is a quick 3-minute video. The late great Kobe Bryant. He kind of mentions a schedule, right? And that's kind of how you can see kind of what it takes to kind of be great, right? And then also there's a little bit longer podcast here. Jocko Willink, he's a former commander in the U.S. Navy SEALs. He touches on that too. It's about 45 minutes, but both of those are worth a little listens. You can 2x speed type of thing. You'll notice that okay, you're doing the math. Okay, well he only gets like 6 hours of sleep a night. As a grown adult, I'm fine. 6 hours is fine, but it's more about also consistency, doing it consistently every day. So wake up at the same time, go to bed at the same time, every day, 7 days a week. A lot of times your friends, right? Well, even some like my friends are grown and they're like working, 40-hour week jobs. The thing is why everyone is always tired on Monday and Tuesdays is because they've slept in on the weekend and then their body's got to adjust again. For you all, if you consistently start waking up at 4:30 every morning, it's going to take your body about 2 weeks to adjust, and then you'll be good. Your body like, okay, this is how it is, and every day you'll be fine. After that, for the first 2 weeks, yeah, it's going to suck. I'm not going to lie to you here. It's going to suck, but then after that, you're fine. You'll be able to do it. Your body will readjust to it, and you'll adjust your sleep schedule. But it's always got to be consistent. Your body cares more about consistency, right, than necessarily amount. Right, amount is nothing if it's all over the place. Your body wants consistency. If you give it 6 hours per night, every day, that includes Saturday mornings, Sunday mornings. So if you're able to do that, you'll be fine. Just power through those first 2 weeks, and you'll be fine. Trust me. I used to be that kid who would struggle with those 8 a.m. classes. After those 2 weeks, you'll adjust. Your body will adjust. It's in your evolutionary DNA. You'll be okay. Trust me. Right now, the minute I said that, right, this is why my next point. There's always an excuse not to do something, right? I need a break from school. That's classic. You're never going to have more time than you actually have right now. Like graduate and you get a job, spouse, kids, something like that. That's less and less time you're going to be able to work on this venture. So the excuse sometimes I will sometimes hear is, oh yeah, I need a break from everything. I need to sit on the couch and watch Netflix for like a week. It's like, again, your venture that you should be working on should be reinvigorating to you anyways. So it shouldn't feel like work. It should be something that, again, drives you again. And if it doesn't, then maybe this isn't the right venture that's going to like help you, find what you actually want to do in life. And then again, I don't have enough free time. I kind of touched on that again. It's again, are we going to adjust your schedules, right? Are you going to actually do the proper planning and cut out some of the things that are unnecessary, right? You do have obligations, of course, but at the same time, there are a lot of stuff that is just wasted time. And when you do that time on it, and then you see over 2 weeks how much time you've wasted, how much time you could have put into different things, it's like, I get it. So, and really another, tip and trick is then just be honest with yourself. Again, what makes you happy, right? Do I enjoy the grind? So like you'll hear a lot of NFL coaches, NBA coaches talk about like what they're looking for players that are willing to make the sacrifices, to be great. So that means instead of hang out in the club till 2, 3 a.m. Okay, guys, I gotta get home. I gotta get sleep. I gotta get rest. I gotta go watch film in the morning at 5:30 in the morning, right? That's what they're talking about. Your athletes talk about all the times like, yeah, I could have played until I was, 38, 39, but I decided to, I just wanted to retire at 33 because, I didn't enjoy the grind anymore. That's what they're talking about. They're talking about, again, that daily routine of, up early, 4:35, 5 a.m., starting the day, going working out and all that stuff, right? It's the same thing, right? It's all the same thing. And, when you enjoy the grind especially because it's something it's helping you work on something that you really are passionate about. It's not work anymore, right? And again, do you enjoy the long hours? Like that's the thing, is like you're not really ever going to be able to run, especially startup, like, and you're CEO of it, like you're founder CEO of it. It's not going to be a 40-hour week. I mean, it's just not realistic. It's going to be 80, 100, 120-hour weeks consistently all the time to make it a really successful. Because again, it's about how much effort you're putting into it. Like over here to the right, I kind of just did like just a little bit of math here. So, of course, there's 365 days in a year. Of those, are like true like working days, excluding holidays, about like 261. Non-working days about 104. Your normal typical person who's working 80 hours, 40 hours a week. They're working about normal and also normal working years. They're working about like a little over 2,000 hours a year. So somebody who's working like 12-hour days, seven days a week, they're at about almost 2,300, 2,300 hours per year. Additional hours per year. Because right now they're working about 4,300, and then the additional hours per year. So then, really, the number of years that person working 12-hour days, 7 days a week, for 1 year, that a normal person 40-hour a week versus somebody who's working 12-hour days, that person working 12-hour days is working 2 years for that person's 1 year, right? Then you start getting into like, okay, 15-hour days. Okay, now you're at like 2.5 years versus somebody else's just normal person's 1 year, right? And I mean, like the greatest of all time, right, is like 18, right? 3 years for every 1 year that a normal person works 40-hour weeks. I'm averaging around like 16, 17. I'm trying to work. Occasionally I'll hit 18, so I'm working there. But that's kind of the idea. Is then how do you do that? How do you squeeze out that much more productivity? This is how you do it. You put the time in, but also then you're having the self-discipline to make sure that you're doing it each and every day. It's a professional coach. This is what they're teaching in the NFL to some of those young guys. Is like, that's again how to be a professional, and that's really how you got to approach it. And it's really just that self-discipline. And if you're able to do that, I can't guarantee success, but you're going to be put yourself in a more likelihood of succeeding in your venture. Right. So again, this is again being honest with yourself. Is like, well, what am I willing to give up in order to become an entrepreneur? You can't give up like your integrity, honesty, loyalty, that type of thing. But you're gonna have to miss some birthdays. I personally miss birthdays, weddings, funerals, family reunions, nights out with friends, etc. As in terms of building technology. But I love what I do. I would change it for the world. The people that care about me most, they understand this, right? I was lucky enough to have two parents who went to law school, so they understood the grind that it takes to kind of achieve your goals. For some other people, I can't speak to everybody's situation, but you may have to say, hey, listen, right? You may have family members that don't understand why you wouldn't be able to hang out like you used to, because you have this new demand though, and you can explain to them that this is something you're really passionate about, and they'll clearly see that you're putting in the work, and they'll support you in any way. So it's again having that honesty with yourself and being able to tell yourself, okay, like this is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to achieve that goal. Again, with consistently working on my time and staying focused on the task at hand, and not deviating unjustifiably. Yes, life will happen. I can guarantee you that. But those would be kind of more justified things for an emergency to happen. But again, you're always still at least putting in some work every single day to hopefully achieve your goal. I appreciate the time. Looking forward to chatting with you all. If you have any questions, anything at all, please feel free to reach out to me at Ryan@Opollo.ai. I'm more than happy to chat with you via email or Zoom meeting or something like that. Also, check out those calendars that I put in there, and also that slide. I include the links to like some additional like resources that you may or may not that you may find to be able to use some of the calendars. Okay, so hopefully this was helpful. Looking forward to chatting with you all. All right, take care. All right, bye.